everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. Let the record show that all members are present tonight, less Jim Urban, and that the meeting was properly advertised. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item tonight's an action item, and that's the approval of our minutes from the August 3rd, 2022 meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes, and if so, any comments, corrections, discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for August the 3rd.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the minutes from August 3rd, 2022. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next item is an information item, and our general manager, Ed Basquill, is going to discuss road safety. Hey, Ed?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a brief presentation on road safety. If they would show my slides here. Our utility workers, they work a very dangerous job. These are the 10 most common workplace injuries, according to OSHA in 2020. I've seen this list every year. They're very much the same every year. But if you look at this list, you'll see that electrocution is number 6. We have linemen that work on high voltage. Slips, trips, and falls are always number 1 or number 2. Our people are among the busiest people you're going to see walking around. They're struck by moving objects, struck against stationary object, and what we're focused on today is motor vehicle accidents, which are also overlap with struck by accidents. There's many workplace fatalities due to road safety, and it's one of the things that keeps me up at night, and I worry about as a utility manager because it's a public partnership with people that obeying the traffic rules and obeying our flaggers in order to keep our people safe. It's not an exaggeration to say that the biggest worry we have about somebody dying on the job is being hit by a vehicle. Our safety committee has helped us as far as updating our safety posture on how we do flagging and signage and cones. And we've also recently bought these big displays that we would use for different road work that we're doing. But none of these are positive means of safety. What I mean by a positive means is when someone puts a harness on when they're up on a line truck on a pole. If there's a mistake or something happens, the harness catches them. If they're working on electricity, the glove helps them. Or if you tag something out, a high pressure water line, it helps you there. We're counting on the public to listen to our flaggers, follow traffic rules, and slow down. Lebanon Utilities is neighbors helping neighbors. A lot of our employees are people who are coaching your sports teams, going to your church. You might see them at Oktoberfest. And I just wanted to appeal to the public to slow down. Our people are working in the street in a very dangerous job, and just obey our flaggers. We haven't had any incidents, but we do have a lot of work going on and a lot of work coming. I just want to appeal to the public to watch out for your fellow neighbors out there working in the street. That's all I had. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ed. Appreciate that. It's important. All right, next item, it looks like an action item. It's the interceptor clean out. Is that something you're handling, Ryan?
It is, yes. Don't want to go through a board meeting without an action item, so make sure we
Your middle name, isn't it?
keep my streak alive a little bit here. This request is for the 2022 sanitary sewer interceptor cleaning. This is a new kind of initiative in the collections department to once again try to free up capacity in some of our lines and also be proactive in preventing possible sanitary sewer overflows. We have some interceptors and this interceptor is basically where multiple collection lines of varying sizes come into one large sewer line, which will then feed directly to the wastewater treatment plant. And we have some that are as big as 48 inches in diameter. But what you have is with a force main, which is a pressurized sewer line, or even gravity of a smaller nature, you can get some debris in there, whether it's upstream construction, or if an older manhole, some of the brick or concrete work might be falling off in there. And there's enough pressure to move that out of that area, but when you get to a larger diameter interceptor or main, there's not enough force to continue that on, so it all kind of builds up. So in essence, an 18-inch in some areas could have less capacity than a brand new 18-inch, just because of some of the debris that could be in there. So what we did is, with this not being something like, if you're getting your oil changed, it's kind of an A, B, and C, it's all the same, you just want the lower price. We did a request for proposals with this, advertised this, and we did have 2 responses. It's not something that people do every day, which is why we did actually have to reach out to a contractor, because we just, there are some bypassing, you have to bypass some sewers to make sure there's no flow in there. And then what they will do is they'll come in and basically vac out or clean out that debris. And in theory, they will open up more capacity and possibly prevent future backups, where if you had some I&I or you had some issues upstream before you get to the plant, that's kind of where it would all, head together. And this is important, the RFP is important for a couple of reasons. With us not having done this project before, we basically ask for prices with every large diameter interceptor that we have per linear foot. So then we could determine what would be the most effective way to spend our money, our budgeted money for this project based on that. But that also gives us an idea of what kind of scope, if we want to continue this program, what our scope would be for the next few years based on the linear foot price that we have for every diameter. So we can either increase, decrease, keep the same, or completely do away with the program based on the cost per linear foot. But we have that information now, which we did not have before the RFP. So moving forward, if we see some success in this, we could apply more of our budget to this and, help ensure that we're opening capacity and trying to eliminate the chance for SSOs. And this area does receive feed, the area that we are going to do, and I do have I already asked this question on the overhead, but I think I probably put it, yeah, I knew it. I even asked which way to put it and still said it the wrong way. So down here at the very bottom at structure 2304, that is right inside the fence line for the wastewater treatment plant, just to give you an idea of where this project is going to take place. And then, but this basin is part of the basin that eventually is fed from the SSOs that we are combating at the Reese Park lift station. So we're kind of trying to head it off from both sides. We're trying to free up flow upstream and control flow with the lift station in order to just ensure that we don't have any backups. We did budget $100,000 for this project, and like we've done in previous projects, we are doing it based on linear feet. So at the end of every day, we will get a report, I'll get an email, we completed X amount of feet, your current cost is this, tomorrow here's the plan. So that way, we can make sure, based on the proposal is $97,500, and we want to do a do not exceed on that. But if they say, hey, we got to this manhole and we're at 95,000, but if we go to the next manhole, it's going to be 112. they're not springing that on me. We will know step by step how progress is going and what our costs are, or if they're seeing more bypassing or a little bit more significant cost in the first few sections, we'll know we may not be able to complete the exact scope of work for the money that we've allotted. So the National Power Rotting out of the Chicago area they were the lower bid per linear foot, and not only that, their proposal, this is something they have done before, so they have experience doing this. The 18-inch sewer main caused them concern from a laughing standpoint because in Chicago.
From a what standpoint?
Laughing, because in Chicago, they do 72-inch, where they can actually have people walk through them when they bypass. So they're like, we're like, can you handle an 18-inch? And they're like, yeah, I think we'll be okay with that. So, but that, them having experience in this, in the bypassing, because you do have to make sure that the sewers still flow. It's not like
Is this the project where you have the diversion to the surface?
Yes, they'll bypass from one manhole to a different manhole.
Above ground, so is it, will that bring to light a special effort to communicate with neighbors? Because we'll end up in the Hoosier Village neighborhood, right?
The Hoosier Estates, yes.
Hoosier Estates.
Yes. So I will have to check, because some of the area based on their technique, they will not have to put bypass out. They have a basically almost a recycler truck that, as you fill a vac truck, it compresses, the excess water will go away, and then they can remove the debris. So when that gets dumped, we are not paying weight on water. We're only paying for the debris, and that is factored into this, the debris that we're getting rid of. So their technique may not, they put in there that they do have the ability to bypass, and they do have the ability to make sure that the sewers keep flowing, but this technique will also ensure that the sewers are still flowing, but may get rid of the bypass altogether, which would be another major benefit.
Okay.
But there will be communication with the surrounding areas as to what's going on. We'll put door hangers on there, give out our cards like we do with most projects to know if there's
Why
any issues.
did you choose this section first?
So we kind of debated on, do we go farther away from the plant? After talking with the contractor and staff, my collections crew, and engineering, we determined this because of the fact with us never have taken advantage of this. We don't know exactly what the debris looks like. But what we didn't want to do is pick a project upstream and take care of that area, but loosen and free more debris to go to an area by the plant that's being intercepted, where we could actually cause some issues in that area as opposed to cleaning up issues. So we're going to look at it from this point of view, clean this up, then next year we can make our recommendation based on the data and the information. We're going to install a flow monitor also. So what we'll do is we'll have a flow monitor before and a flow monitor after. So we have a data point that says, based on cleaning, you have increased your flow, hasn't helped, or whatever. So we will know then this is not a project we want to continue, or hey, we saw a significant increase in our flow because of this, because we've removed the debris, and this is a project not only we want to continue, but we would like to increase the budget on that.
So our boots on the ground folks have a feel for which one of these main interceptors or lines have the accumulation in them, right?
Yeah, not only that, this
is not the kind of thing that we can camera, is it?
Well, it depends. There's portions of this we can, but if it's a force main feeding it, you can't the force main because it's under pressure. But we have cameraed part of this, but part of it there where the debris is, we cannot. You almost need a four-wheel four-wheel drive. Our camera is not designed to be able to go
Right.
over the terrain that's in there. So we can only get so far. So we know there is some debris.
Okay.
And this was this whole project was from Bobby Taylor right before he left, suggested this, and his crew all, and so this is kind of COVID kind of slowed it down, but this has been an ongoing process to start this project up. But yeah, it was their suggestion, and when we started looking at it, I think it's a great suggestion and a worthy expense for us.
Those success or failure is based upon flow rate.
One of the major, I would say the major factors would be, yes, the flow rate, and, ensuring that budget-wise, we're kind of getting what we're paying for a linear foot. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if we're spending money to increase flow, increase capacity, and we're not, then that's not a worthwhile project for the future, in my opinion. Similar to sewer lining, right in that same, I'm in the same kind of mind frame as, if we're just lining an area because it's easy, as opposed to we know there's significant I&I and it's going to help with flow, then that's a much better project than just lining to say we're lining.
Hey, Ryan, you may not know the answer to this, but there's been a truck up and down Lebanon Street. Is that a state project that they've been doing similar to this? Are you familiar with, it looks like that's what they're doing, is taking off the manholes?
That could be that, or it could be storm-related, I'm not sure. But if it's manholes, that we would be at least involved in that, but they could also just be getting some depths, depending on if they're going to do any paving or anything like that, if something needs to be raised or lowered based on new plans. So I'm not exactly sure what that is, other than it could also be storm-related too.
Okay. All right, anything else for Ryan on this item? If not, I'd entertain.
Let's see, just a couple, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, you plan to have this done by September 30th, is that correct?
Yes.
And start almost immediately?
Yeah, actually, the contract work and the legal review, Jeff, I think the legal review has been completed on this, and we're just kind of waiting for a notice to proceed, or with the contract with National Power Routing, I think it went pretty easy.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, I think we're basically, when we issue the notice to proceed, they're going to get, and they talk like getting us on the schedule for this project won't be any concern whatsoever. And we also want to do it while technically we're kind of in our driest season. So as fall rolls around and you start to see some increased I&I from rain flow, then obviously you're spending more on diversion, or you have more flow to deal with. So we want to do it when it's as dry as possible.
Thank you.
Right, anything else? Okay, if not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve National Power Rotting for the 2022 sanitary sewer interceptor cleaning in an amount not to exceed $97,500.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Aaron to approve the National Power Routing for the 2022 sanitary sewer interceptor cleaning in the amount not to exceed $97,500. Any additional questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thanks for that, Ryan. I know you're staying put for a second for the water CIP.
Yes, this is just an informational item. We have kind of discussed this. We had a working session where we were able to discuss this at length, because this is the water capital improvement plan is a pretty hefty document. This is kind of our working blueprint, if you will, on sustaining and improving our water system. And that's from the wells, when we get it out of the ground, to when it goes into the customer's home, and everything in between, your distribution lines, your hydrants, your projects, water storage, all of that. So what we do is we evaluate that, and we actually have, with the help in 2018, BF&S and Sondy and Lebanon Utilities went through and created a hazard ranking system that we still utilize right now. And basically what we do is we put everything on there of any projects we need or any emergencies that we could see happening. And the first time I filled this out, there was one on there that It comes back to rear its ugly head, as I told you not to take any of this lightly, and it was staff shortage in 2018 due to illness, and I'm like, I can't imagine that ever being the case. Fast forward to now, that was a major issue. So I learned very quickly to never disregard anything on our hazard ranking list and to take every single thing seriously. So and the input that is on the hazard ranking comes from multiple meetings with staff, our water treatment staff and our water distribution staff, Lebanon Utilities Management, Finance Department, also the city planning, city engineering. Mayor Gentry was able to sit in and give us input on and feedback on this, and then ultimately, the draft came to the board in a working session, and we cleaned everything up, took everybody's input, and this is what we have. Traditionally, I had the CIP updates being every 2 years, but that plan was before the amazing growth that is being projected for Lebanon Utilities in the city of Lebanon. So we are going to budget and plan on water and wastewater CIPs being updated yearly. Now, there have been times where we've updated the CIP, and I've walked out of a meeting and portions of it have been out of date due to new things that we're hearing because things are moving so quickly throughout the community. But at least we'll have a document that's less than 12 months old as opposed to one that would be 23 months old. So we can get it as updated as possible without going through it every single month and taking considerable time to do that. So just some projects that we have, some short-range capital projects that we have on here. Number one, and this is actually something that, based on this information, that the board approved us to move forward with 120 Water on the lead and galvanized water service line program through EPA and IDEM. So there's a significant cost to that. And that 4 years ago would not have been on our radar. We were improving and always proactive in that, but this is the biggest change that we've had to the lead and copper rule since the lead and copper rule was established. So, that moved that up to our highest short-term priority. Then you have Lakeshore Drive and State Road 39, which we discussed at the working session as being a priority, and Spencer Avenue Water Main Loop. If you know where Spencer Avenue is, that is the little short street that goes from Indianapolis Avenue and 32, where 32 kind of goes on its own, and Indianapolis Avenue continues on. That little area right there is Spencer Avenue. That is a dead-end line that has had numerous main breaks. And then we also have a dead-end stub just by the antique store on the intersection of Noble Street and Indianapolis Avenue. So what we'd like to do is loop that together, and that way we can ensure we put new line in Spencer Avenue, but we're also removing two dead ends from our system and getting a little bit extra flow and some redundancy. And we would size that in preparation if growth or when growth, whichever way you want to look at it, goes towards Westfield on State Road 32, that we can prepare to be able to service that area if we're asked to. So, that is also taken into consideration, where normally it may be an 8-inch line, but if we want to use that as a feed line, we would size that as a 12-inch line based on future engineering and future development in that area. We also have hazard ranking based on what are our biggest concerns? Is main break in our 24-inch main our biggest emergency concern? If that's the case, would it be just a random main break, or would it be the water main that goes underneath I-65 and concrete casing? Or would it be our dead ends, or whatever that may be? So that all of that data is put into our hazard rankings, and then we are able to, perfect example, the board fully supported Syracuse Drive. Last CIP, Syracuse Drive, I believe was number 1 or 2, but I know for sure it was a top 5 must-have emergency projects, and now it's not on our list of 50 anymore because due to the board being proactive and that project, us being able to show the main breaks and the damage that that line had caused, we were able to have a data-driven decision and not just, my gut feeling is this or my hunch is this. With all the input we get, we were able to make a decision. We also, in the CIP, have construction-related projects. If the city's doing a project where, a perfect example is the Grant Street project, they are, part of that project was to replace the water main with the same size that is currently in there. Well, what we'd like to do is we'd like to upsize that. So the only cost that the Lebanon Utilities will incur based on scheduling and the cooperation with the city is just the upsize cost. Everything else would be covered in the original construction cost that would not be coming from Lebanon Utilities. So we're able to take advantage of the engineering, is already paid for, the construction work's already paid for, we're just paying the offset of the cost. So having that coordination with the city, and we do have coordination meetings with them that are just our project meetings and their future projects. So if they're going to be paving an area and we've got a patch that needs to be done there, we don't spend money on an asphalt patch for an 8x10 area if in 6 months that it's going to be paved. We can just make that passable for now, and then, Syracuse Drive is a perfect example of their concrete, or the sidewalk work was not going to be scheduled in that area for, I think, another year. But after we did ours, they saw how good it looked, and they came down and did the other side of the road based on the fact that we already had construction in the area and made it a little bit easier on them, on the city, so they benefited from it. And that whole road now, if you go on it, everything is brand new there, and it looks gorgeous. And so with our coordination and with the CIP, them kind of being able to see our playbook and know where we are focused on budget-wise and project-wise, we can coordinate that with them to make sure everybody gets the most out of every dollar that we're spending. This is a large document, so I obviously don't want to go through everything, but anything in that document, I'd be happy to try to answer questions on for the board, or if you had anything I can relay.
I'm looking at number 12 on the list, and there is a possibility that it's really no more than the possibility stage that we might be able to hook up to a LEAP water source without this large expenditure. And I know I've talked with you, but you and our staff will be staying on top of the LEAP development and the possibility of us tapping into the water sources that they obtain. So.
And I think
so please don't lose sight of that.
No, absolutely. And I think that's why, another reason why I think it's going to benefit the board and customers for us to update this more often. Because in the amount of time that we've got this finished, the new scenarios had started taking place. But with nothing concrete, I'm not prepared to take anything off. But I will say, all of these projects were also figured on before Abner Longley was complete, since it's not complete yet. So we did not assume that Abner Longley was going to be online, because that's not an assumption I was prepared to make when it comes to long-term strategic planning and emergency planning. So having a potential 2 million gallons extra storage in our hands could potentially change some of our hazard rankings also. The concern with only having right now such a small window of time to repair a 24-inch main at Sugar Creek, based on having 750,000 gallons of storage when we're averaging 2 million gallons a day, give or take, as opposed to having 2.75 million gallons of storage, you have freed up hours and hours, possibly a full day extra of repair time on your largest transmission line you have in the system. But without that being online, I'm never comfortable just assuming that anything will change in there. So yes, as we update this, that's why we sit down with city engineers, city planning, and make sure that their input is heard, where they say, that is a done deal, here's the paperwork, mark that off your list, or I don't know, it's kind of gray area right now, so we have all the updated facts we can to to put in this, but, trust me, I'm
Well, I
very aware.
I think it's safe to say the project description is correct. New water source connection. What comes after that is a variable and negotiable as we go, so.
It's the best information we have right now.
Absolutely. And I kind of look like, water is a precious commodity, and I feel like as a utility, we should always be looking to explore as much water as possible, because I don't feel like you can ever have too much, but it has to be done in a fiscally sound and a responsible way also. So there are some options out there that would definitely, if they come to fruition, would benefit, could possibly benefit Lebanon Utilities a great deal, which would be very, very welcome.
Good stuff. Thanks, Ryan. Anything else?
That's all I have.
All righty. Looks like our next item is approval of our claims payroll and transfers from August 17th. Everyone had a chance to review those items? If so, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve claims, payrolls, and transfers dated August the 17th, 2022, in the amount of $2,721,972.32 for claims and payroll, and $3,203.65 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the claims, payroll, and transfers dated August 17th, 2022. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, next item is any other business that the board might have. Anything from board members or our general manager?
Yes, sir.
All right, any public comment tonight? Anything you're aware of, Ed?
No?
Okay, looks like we're scheduled for September the 7th at 5 PM for our next meeting. And if there is nothing else for the good of the order, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, thank you, everyone.